We might need to put a little like music for this can.
Yeah,
I
think so, right?
Yeah.
Normally I would play it, but we're messing around with some different equipment that didn't quite work, so you always got plan B, plan C. So we're actually recording on the old Beer Dad's phone here, so should be interesting on how it comes out. But I'm excited to try this because, as Brandon said, and hopefully we dub in some background music for this. The can art, very Ghostbuster-esque.
This was the one, man, when you said, hey, we're going to go down to Noble, we're going to try some new beers. This was the one when I was excited for all of them, but this was the one I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I saw it when they when they posted it online. I don't remember what I wrote, like hell yes or hell yeah. I can't remember, but everybody knows the Beer Dad's like a huge Ghostbusters fan. That's just the era I grew up in. As you know, the Beer Dad just celebrated his 40th birthday, so Ghostbusters is definitely in my wheelhouse. And I saw this can. I was like, holy shit, this is dope. So
yeah, I was pretty stoked on this can, too, to be honest with you. Josh Buckhalter, who's in charge of marketing, does all our design stuff like that.
He did that? Okay.
Yeah, so we took the old can, but we revamped it a bit. And I love everything we did can-wise this time around. Everything kind of pops at you. Yeah. A little bit better than the last cans we had.
I noticed some of the new releases that we're going to be talking about. Some new releases or re-releases.
Yeah.
The can art's different, and he's doing a great job.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I appreciate him. He works hard.
Awesome.
Argues with our owner constantly about it. But I mean,
sometimes you got to be like that.
I mean, he's passionate, which is rad. You always want people like that around you.
Right.
Yep. So this guy, I was so happy to brew this beer, honestly, because sours are like my thing. And even though people, are kind of down on kettle sours, like there is a bit of an art to it in the way you craft it. So. We did. I rigged up the system to make it, feasible to happen, and so we took a single pitch of one of my favorite lactobacillus was a Buchneri.
Mm-hmm.
So when I make my kettle sours, I try to kill. A lot of people will go ahead and they'll lauter it over, they'll get it to pitching temp, and they'll pitch their lacto. Personally, I like to control the flavor, so we always pasteurize after we lauter to kill everything in there. And then we send it through the heat exchanger to get it down to about 100 to pitch our lacto. So we know we're only getting lacto in there. We know we're getting that flavor, and this is my favorite lacto. It's Buchneri. Not many people use it. Yeah. It gets you more citrus notes in there. A lot of citric acid in there. And what happened was our CO2 delivery truck had some problem, so we had to sit in the tank another day because we need to clear a tank. So this guy ended up sitting in the kettle a day too long and got down to 316 or something like that before we even pitched the yeast, and it was just so sour. But one of the things I like to do is and I know people will kind of poo-poo this, is I love running terminal acid shock ferments. So typically, you can do an acid prop where you get the yeast will dry it out. But for me personally, those they're too sour to the point where you're taking tums after you did things. So this finishes higher gravity, so 10, 16, I want to say. And that balances against the sourness. So it tastes more tartness. But after you have a couple sips, it starts biting you back in the jaw and clinching up a little bit. Yeah. And to me, it's just clean. I love it. It's a great start. And it's just a plain kettle sour. Nothing else in it, really.
Well, let's dive into it. I took a little sip, and my mouth's already watering because it's like, let's go, let's go.
I see that there's a little oolong tea in there. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Okay, so we this traditionally is done with magnolia oolong tea, and this time around we didn't get the flavor we wanted, and it's always been for the past kind of one of the things where they've had an issue with. There's if you look at the books there's been 15 or 20 brews of this beer and about 15 or 20 different ways to try to inject the magnolia.
Yeah.
And so we tried a 24-hour recirc on this, and we got a little bit of flavor off it, and so we just left it in the brink and let it sit for 24 hours before we injected it in. We didn't get quite the flavor we wanted. Next time around, we're going to add another, type of way to get the magnolia tea in there. But for the first batch, really happy with this guy. It crushes. It's great in the morning. It's responsible. It wakes you up. It's like you know, if you don't want to drink caffeine, just have a Ghost.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
The sour just wakes you up. It gets you going in the morning.
It's got a little tea.
It's only
there.
4 ABV, you know?
I love it.
It's
Gosebusters.
really good, man. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is just the first. And even though it is a single lactobacillus, we're going to start adding other lactobacillus to make our own house culture here.
Yeah.
And we're pretty excited. We're going to start propping up plantarum and throw it in there to get a little bit more bite to it.
Now that you have this, you can make it a thing, and you could do like Ghostbusters 2 and have a different variation. And then you could do Ghostbusters Afterlife or Afterbite and just keep going with it.
We could.